Hey guys, welcome back to another one. This is going to be the 16 gauge Buckshot Part 2. Um, we got some pretty decent loads. The long shot load that we fired did exceptionally well. I didn't expect it to do that well. All these were conventionally loaded with the Obturator 16 gauge gas seal. Aside from this one was just using Claybuster wad. Um, but like I said a second ago, all the loads did okay, but I still feel like the Alliance steel loads can be tightened up because we were getting at the most a 30-inch spread with the Alliance steel loads, but with this one we were getting like a basketball or a little bit bigger, a 10-inch spread at 40 to 45 yards with a conventionally loaded, you know, this was a double lot load. But I may just, little peek behind the curtain here, I may just ditch the whole Alliance steel ounce and a half buckshot load for 16 gauge because I've not had one that really impressed me all that much yet. It seems to do better with birdshot as like a turkey. I may just end up using the Alliance steel for strictly turkey loads, ounce and a half turkey loads, because I'm not too impressed with it with buckshot, even though we were getting fairly decent patterns out of it. But I've gotten better. The long shot did a lot better. But what do you say we load one up? Let me get this switched over to grains real quick. There we go. Alright, once fired. Actually, this is like 3 times fired. At the most, 3 times. Federal. This was a Federal 7.5 game load. Probably 1 ounce, 1165. If this was the double lot load I fired. 10 pellet, ounce and a quarter, double lot, mix number 47 buffer, Claybuster wad with the pedals removed. Guess I need my resize ring. There it is. I'm going back with a Winchester primer in this load right here because I think that's what I had in this one here. I'm fairly certain it was a Winchester primer. I just noticed something. This hole, the crimp is split right here, but it's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and load it anyway. But Winchester primer. Set it right there. Zero it out. 22 grains of Hodgdon long shot. See if I can nail this first try. I've been getting pretty good at it. 26. Yeah. Overshot that one just a little bit. 22. This load's running about 1250 FPS. Claybuster wad, this is the blue one. It holds 1 ounce and 1/8. Is what they tell you anyway. This actually holds 1 ounce and a quarter flush with the shot cup. As you guys can probably tell, that's quite a large shot cup. I think of this as the equivalent to the Claybuster red 12 gauge wad, the CB 1138-12. I think of this as the equivalent to that, but in 16 gauge. A knife. This is my friend Zach's knife. His blade is actually a lot sharper than my knife right now. That's why I'm using it. He happened to just leave it at my house by accident. Just gonna want to cut those pedals off. Just like that. You're left with the gas seal and the power piston section. There you go. Just like that. And of course, you're going to want to flare the gas seal out. Because again, these holes, I'm fairly positive they were designed for straight wall holes, or at least Remington Nitros. They have a little bit smaller internal diameter than, you know, your Shadots and Fiocchis and stuff. But I flare the gas seals out just because I've had issues with primer leaking around this wad if I don't do it. And sometimes I get what's called a blooper of a load where it goes bang and then it just goes out the end of the barrel. Nothing really happens. Gonna want to give that a little bit of pressure. As you guys can see, that's fairly deep in there. Like I said, 1.25 ounces with the pedals of lead shot fits perfectly. I've sometimes with the 1 1/8 ounce loads, I've had to add a little bit of filler or an overshot card to get a good crimp on it. Now, my double aught, you guys have probably seen these already. The white balance is off, but they are powder coated. Like I always say, you don't have to powder coat your pellets. I only do it for conventionally loaded shells, just to cut down on leading in my barrel. My 10 gauge, the choke section of it, the big long 36-inch barrel one I have, had a lot of lead buildup in the barrel. That's why I started powder coating my stuff. That and slugs. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 10 pellets comes up right where you want it to be for the crimp. We're going to add mix number 47 buffer. And guys, I've fired many of these loads right here. Whether it be 7.5 shot, 8 shot, number 4 buck, double aught, single aught, 1.25 ounce loads, they've all been great. 1.25 ounces in a 16 gauge is perfect in my opinion. Now I know with blue dot I can push the velocity a little bit higher and get a little bit lower pressure than I can with long shot. But I have a very limited supply of blue dot, I have about 500 grains of it. Just because, like my friend Zach I mentioned earlier, he was gracious enough to you know, just give me a little bit of it, just for free, because we help each other out with a lot of stuff. There's something he's looking for, like, say, long shot powder, or this WSF right here. I'll tell him, you know, hey, this store's got some WSF in, and he'll go run out and get it, and he'll do the same for me. He's actually what got me into shooting more. I told him I was on the lookout for a 16 gauge. I hadn't bought a gun in years, or even been shooting in a while. And he went out and just pawn shop hopping. He found me a 16 gauge, that Topper Model 48 that I shoot a lot in my videos. And that was about 2.5 years ago. And ever since then, I've been kind of, you know, just addicted. Anyway, let's move on. 6-point fold crimp. I hope this one crimps good with that split. Yeah, it could be better, but that's what it looks like. See, right here, that's where that split is, but I can live with that. Off camera, I'll open this back up and put some paper towel or something in there to just seal the buffer in. And of course, I knock it right back off the bar. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? This one was 20 grains of Alliance steel. This one seemed a bit underpowered. When I roll the clip of us shooting this here in a few moments, listen for the noise after. I believe it was Josh that fired this load. It could have been me, I can't remember. But you could hear the pellets tearing through the brush line and hitting the paper. Just a few fractions of a second after the shot went off, which tells me the velocity was pretty low on this. It was probably running around 1,000 FPS. I don't think it was breaking the sound barrier at all. So, yeah, I'm going to try 23 grains in a future load and see what that does. Because even the 22 grain charge, I feel like, is fairly anemic, I want to say. Because that one is running about 1,100 FPS, and I feel like I could push it faster because the pressure on it is only around 9,000 PSI with the 22 grain charge. But anyway, let's get to loading this one here up. There's my ring. And it looks like I fired this load because the brass resized just fine. Out of his gun, his extractor leaves a lip. I'll try to show you. Maybe you can make it out. His extractor, or it's an ejector, I should say, leaves a mark on the brass right there. And that makes it sometimes hard to resize the hulls. But that just tells me what gun this hull I'm resizing was fired in. Winchester primer again. Needs a little bit more. Now it's in flush. Just a little note here, these Fiocchi hulls weigh 17 grains more than the Federal hulls do, primed. That's 19. Should be sitting at 20 now. Sure are. I don't recommend loading this load. As I said, it sounded pretty anemic. The recoil wasn't bad either, from what I remember. None of the Alliance steel loads have really recoiled all that hard. It's about on par with the 1 1/4 ounce loads. It lets you know you're shooting a gun, but it ain't nothing serious. It ain't like shooting a 1 7/8 load out of a 12 gauge or anything like that. But it's pretty stout. Just the 1 1/2 ounce payload weight and the recoil being no more than the 1 1/4 ounce load tells me the velocity on that load was, and the other Alliance steel loads is pretty low. The velocity is. But 1 second, I have to go grab a gas seal. I forgot to bring them over here. And there it is, the Operator 16 gauge gas seal. And these are symmetrical. Hopefully you can make it out. Doesn't matter which way you load them into a hull, they are symmetrical. And looks like I had an 1/8 inch fiber cushion wad. This is actually the waxed hard card, but that's what I used. And I don't think it was an 1/8 of an inch. I think it was closer to a 1/16, half of an 1/8. And that's just doing two things. It's taking up a little bit more room in the hull for, a good crimp, and it seals the buffer from leaking around the gas seal, because these, like I mentioned in my other video, the Operator 16 seems a little bit small for these Fiocchi hulls. And this was kind of hard to read these, where they've been fired and resized. 15 pellets of single up. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 12, 14, 15. I was one off. Got ahead of myself there a little bit. But yeah. Mix number 47 buffer. You can add a Mylar wrap to this load if you want to, but I didn't have one in this load, so I'm not going to go back with it. I can tell that's going to need just a slight little sliver. Like that's almost paper thin of an overshot card. This will also help with the crimp a little bit. Make it look nicer. I can't see that. Run it. Okay. There's the crimp on it. And like I mentioned, I don't recommend loading this one, but if you want like a subsonic 16 gauge heavy buckshot load, I'd say within 25 yards, this is a good load. It should pattern really well at 25 yards. And yeah, subsonic heavy buckshot load. Could be great for home defense. Actually, honestly, I'd say this would be an excellent home defense load for a 16 gauge. But for extended range, no. But let's move on to the next one, shall we? Didn't knock that one off the bar. This one was definitely fired out of Josh's gun. I can tell you that. 22 grains of Alliance steel, arbitrator 16, 12 pellets of double-aught buck, mix number 47 buffer. Sounds easy enough. Again, I'm going back with a Winchester Hull primer in this load. I actually managed to get that one resized just about all the way. You can still see it's kicked up a little bit, but I pulled down on that hard and it's not going anymore. Usually what I do, see that right there? Yeah. That's just the nature of his gun. I have a Mississippi Arms 16 gauge, which is essentially the same gun. It's also made by Stevens, but it's on a true 16 gauge frame, a little bit smaller than the 12s, and it does the exact same thing. It puts that mark on the brass the exact same way his Hercules does. But what I usually do to finish resizing these kind of holes that come out of his gun or my gun, you know, the one I just mentioned, is I'll stick it in my topper 48 and then slam the barrel shut, and that will fully resize the brass right back into spec. But, yep, we're going to need 22 grains of Alliance steel. This would also probably be a really good home defense load. 20 grains. Should be 22 right there. Double check it, make sure. Nope, we're at 21. That's gotta be 22. Sure is. Arbitrator 16 gauge gas seal. I'm gonna have to use the press for this one. Yeah. And this one had, what was it here? 12 pellets of double-aught buck. Another 1.5 ounce load. And again, you can use Mylar in this if you want to, but I didn't, so I'm not going back with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There must be 12 in here already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10, 11, 12. I did have 12. I keep miscounting. Something's wrong with me tonight. Must be, you know, the lack of sleep. I got up at 8:30 this morning, and it's currently about 2 a.m. That's probably why I keep miscounting stuff. Again, mix number 47 buffer. A little bit more. That should do it. And again, it's a 6-point crimp. Woo. Yeah, this one's not going to crimp good, I can already tell. It's a little bit roasted. That's okay. I'll tell you what, that's about the ugliest crimp I've ever had. Check that out. That's just downright horrible. I couldn't see where to line the, you know, the crimp lines up in the hole, and I got it wrong. if you guys had experience with the Lee Lodahl or using a say an 8-point crimp starter on a mech that with the 6-point hull, you guys know what happens. It just ruins the crimp. That's what happened here, but that's okay. I can straighten it out with the curling iron. There's a trick I want to show you guys. Now I'll be doing it with a 10 gauge hull, but there's a trick I'll show you. You can straighten these hulls back out with a curling iron, and it's awesome. But there's that one. This one doesn't have any writing on it, but I know what it was. It was a, actually it was the same load. I believe it's this one. Yeah, it was the same load as that previous hull, not this one, but the one previous to it was, but this one had 22 grains of Alliance steel instead of 20. I'm not going to bother loading that one up because, well, it's just 2 extra grains of powder. That's all it was, but I'm going to show you that curling iron trick just because I think it's really, really cool. You know, I'll be using a 10 gauge hull for it because, you know, I have to film a 10 gauge loading video too. We filmed the 10 gauge buckshot video. And I'll show you here. These hulls like this, with the ragged crimps on it, you can use a curling iron to totally straighten that right back out. Okay, so this trick right here is, honestly, it's really cool. This was a at least twice fired Federal steel shot hull from, I believe, the 90s. Had a 6-point crimp on it, that you guys can see. Now, what you're going to want to do here is get a curling iron. This one's tapered. I can use it for 28 gauge all the way up to 10 gauge. And you guys can probably see where this is going already. Just gonna want to push it onto the curling iron until it has good tension. And once you see the folds and everything start to, this takes a second by the way, start to just lay flat against the curling iron, you're going to want to unplug this from the wall, take it to your sink and run a very shallow stream of cold water over this. And that's going to make the plastic hold its shape. This takes about 45 seconds to do. It's looking like it's about ready. Like I said, you're just going to want to unplug this and run it under a shallow stream of cold water, and that's going to make the plastic hold its shape. Unfortunately, I can't film that part of it because I need a second person, but I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. Well, how's that looking, guys? I mean, you can just barely tell it was ever fold crimped. In fact, look at this. See how round that is? And it's rigid too. There are no the lines where the crimp was is gone. Like, there's no give to it at all. This is essentially a brand new hull now. Of course, it's not brand new. It's obviously been fired, but you can load it just like you would a brand new hull. That's solid. Just thought I'd show you guys that. And no, this wasn't my idea. Someone posted this about a month ago in the group on Facebook, Buck and Slug Reloaders. And I just thought it was a genius idea. I wanted to show you guys if you ain't seen it yet. I completely forgot about the round balls we fired. They are 60 cal, 3/4 ounce exactly round balls. We're using a clay buster wad with the pedals trimmed a little bit. Obturator 16 gas seal and 29 grains of long shot. Now, yeah, I'm making this one fast because it's a simple load. Yep, 29 grains of long shot. There it is. Double check it. Sure got it. Obturator 16 gauge gas seal. Get in there. Clay buster, 1 1/8 wad. It's the blue wad. You ain't got to flare out the gas seal because it has a gas seal in this load. And we just need the 60 cal round ball, and it fits in there just like that. Now I'm not adding any filler into the wad to cushion or anything because this has a pretty stout power piston section. And I'm not adding any overshot card or anything because I want the crimp to cave in a little bit, and that's just because I like to pick up the shell and immediately be able to see what's inside of it, being, in this case, a round ball. 6-point fold crimp. And just like that, hold on. The plastic, the crimp right here, is touching the round ball. It's holding it in place. It ain't going to bounce around. We have a good seal. We fired these at 40 to 45 yards, and we fired 3 each. Josh fared a lot better than I did because I had one of them big, tall mega monsters, the sugar-free ones. And with no food, I was all shaky. Couldn't hold the gun steady, but I still got a respectable grouping, but he got a little 4-inch grouping at, let's call it 40 yards. Certainly fared a lot better than I did. Good shooting, Josh. These, they're accurate. We did not bench rest them. I about guarantee you these are laser accurate out to like 80 yards. Definitely been at a whitetail, that's for sure. We're gonna get a chronograph eventually, and I'll chronograph these loads. I guarantee you they're up there, like close to 1600 FPS, if not more. But anyway, now enjoy the range segment, guys. Alright guys, today we're doing a 16 gauge buckshot part 2. We have my Bay State right here. We got his Hercules again, and we also have his Riverside 12 gauge, his 410, my 10 gauge, the 36-inch barrel one, my 28 gauge, it's a H&R model 1905, and the 20 gauge pump. We're going to be doing the 20 gauge buckshot today, possibly. I have one load for the 28 gauge, it's number 4 buck, 10 gauge buckshot, like I said, 16 gauge buckshot, and some 410 buckshot. That's what we got planned today. Hopefully we can get to it all.
Alrighty guys, we've got a 60 cal 3/4 ounce round ball in a Claybuster wad with a Obtrader 16 gas seal and 29 grains of long shot. At 40 yards, I'm not the best shot by any means, but I'm gonna try it. I've got 3 of them here. I'm gonna try to put them all on that black line across the middle of our target down here. You'll see when we get there.
Okay, I can tell those are going like screaming fast. I can feel the concussion from back here on my face.
Alrighty guys, I was aiming at the knock. I'm here. Well, I pulled low and right, but I can't really complain because 1, 2, 3 within 4 inches of each other, or 5.
That's not bad at all.
No, that's my shooting. That's not the load.
Maybe the gun just shoots a little bit low. We don't know. We'll shoot some more a different day and see how it actually patterns. We'll bench rest it and stuff. But that's really good.
40 yards, I mean.
Yep. Okay, my turn. Same load he shot. 29 grains of long shot, Obtrader 16 gas seal, Claybuster wad, and a 3/4 ounce 60 cal round ball. You guys ain't seen this gun yet on the channel. This is my Bay State. It's made by H&R. It's a model 1908. Made in 1942. This is my favorite 16 gauge I have.
Focus, get my fingers out of it. Yeah, well, you can't really read it.
No, you can't read it at all. It's faded off. What was the recoil like?
Wasn't bad at all.
Awesome. I can't hold the gun steady at all.
Right. There's a heck of a crack to them.
I know. Got a feeling I'm not going to do any good at all with this. I cannot, the gun's doing this on me. Okay, let's go check it out. Okay, he fared a lot better than I did. Maybe not a lot better, but certainly better. Got 1, 2, 3, and maybe a 10-inch spread. That's minute of deer at 40 yards. You're totally good with this load for deer within 40, 50 yards. Those carry a lot of energy. They are 3/4 ounce and very hard cast lead.
Yeah. See guys, accuracy depends upon the person. It's not for say the rifle or the shotgun in this case. It's person to person.
And I have a problem where I like caffeine too much and I'm all shaky today. Like I said, the gun is just literally doing this and I can't help myself from doing it right now. Okay, this one's a bit spicy for a 16 gauge. It's 22 grains of Alliance steel. It's a 1/2 ounce load. Obturator 16 gauge gas seal. A 1/16 inch fiber wad. 15 pellets, a 31 cal single wad, and mix number 47 buffer. Fold crimp. This is running about 1100 FPS.
1.5 ounces out of 16.
All right. Hole looks fine. Primer's still around and everything. If it's in focus.
It is.
All right. Yep. Hull looks absolutely fine. That is a good load. Let's see how it patterned. Okay, this one's about maybe a 30-inch spread. It is conventionally loaded though. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of 15 in about a 30-inch spread. That ain't so bad, but it could be better. I might try adding some Mylar wrap, see if that tightens it up, but I'm okay with that. Oh, this right here is what the wad looks like from the round balls. You have to cut part of the petals off just so the round ball fits flush with it to get a crimp. And that's what that looks like.
Alrighty guys, just for the heck of it, I guess. If anybody could find me 2 stocks for this model Stevens right here, okay, my Hercules and my Riverside both are in desperate need of new stocks.
Right, hold it still for a second. This is what the wood to the frame looks like. It has this little round piece right here. It's not the ones with the flat or the 94 series. It's the old model Stevens.
Alrighty guys, we got another 1.5 ounce load for the 16. This one here is 22 grains of Alliance steel with an Obturator 16 gas seal, 12 pellets of double aught, and mix number 47 buffer at 40 yards out of this old Hercules again. Pretty sure it's a modified choke, not 100% sure on that.
Eventually, we're going to upgrade to the TriStar Viper semi-auto.
Hopefully. But let's see what it does. Alrighty guys, at 40 yards, those were flying in 2 swarms, so to speak. We've got 1, 2, 3 over here anyways, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of 12 on paper.
Actually, that's a double hit right here.
Okay, then we've got 10 of 12. I'd say the other 2's come off in this general area here somewhere, but for 40 yards, conventionally loaded 16 gauge, you know, double aught buck load, I feel like it fared pretty well.
Yep. That one's in like a 3-inch spread, and this one right here is maybe in a 6-inch spread, maybe 7 right here.
2 swarms of angry hornets.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, this just an 1.25 ounce load. We have 22 grains of long shot, clay buster wad with no petals, 10 pellets of double aught buck, mix number 47 buffer, and a fold crimp.
40 yards.
Okay. Again, the hull looks fine. Primer's still round. No swelling of the brass. I've fired many of these 1.25 ounce loads. I love them. 40 yards, conventionally loaded, 10 pellet double aught 16 gauge. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where's the other 2?
It was 10 pellet.
Yeah, that was a 10 pellet load, my bad. We got all 10 pellets in a maybe 10-inch group at 40 yards. Look at this. From here to where his finger is.
It's about the farthest of the pattern.
Might be 10 inches. That's awesome. If you guys are into 16 gauge like we are, go with that load. That is an amazing one. We might try that at 60 one day.
Alrighty guys, we backed the charge down on this one from 22 grains of Alliance steel to 20 grains to see if we couldn't tighten the pattern up a little bit. It's got a Obstrator 16 gas seal, 1/8 ounce fiber wad, 15 pellet of 31 cal, single lot buck with mix number 47 buffer out of his base state at roughly 40 yards. And we'll walk over here and we'll take the shot and then we'll see.
Yep. I feel like this might be closer to 45 yards. That's kind of a, it doesn't look like it on camera, but that's kind of a long way away.
Yeah, we'll see.
We need a rangefinder.
On this one, top left corner, there's no shots really.
Yep.
So I'm gonna try to hold there anyway, center on it, just to see.
Actually, I just aim high center.
High center?
Yeah, because there's barely any pellets up there either.
I could do that, hopefully. Take my time with this one.
All right. Okay, this looks like it's about another 30-inch spread. We got a 14. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Where was the 14th pellet? Up here. We got 14 of them on there. Again, about a 30-inch spread. I don't think Alliance steel was really good for 16 gauge buckshot. Maybe it's just a payload weight, the 1.5 ounce. Not sure. I might try 25 grains of Alliance steel and step it down to 1.25 ounces and see what that does. All right, that's going to wrap up the 16 gauge for right now. I do have some other ideas down the road. Step off to 60 yards with that one long shot load. I am pretty satisfied with most of the results we got, but I feel like the Alliance steel loads could be tightened up a little bit. I'll work on that. Just got to get it figured out. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll do more with the 16 gauge down the road. Thank you.